away. Now we are going to bring to you very, very good music from Africa.
Mashallah. It's loading. So buckle your seatbelts. We'll be live soon.
Who gave you that song?
Sadat, we used it yesterday. Don't sue me, please. So Sadat, actually, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Mashallah.
So
okay,
this
I have a link.
for a concert we just did recently.
Okay. Alright, so I'm sending the Facebook link to you guys so we can share on the social graph. And
Ujama Africa, hey. Harambe Africa, hey.
Mashallah. Yeah. So what's up? It is. Yo, Isaac, I sent you the link. I also sent to Aboli. Let me share on my wall.
We know we are lions, cause we're born in Africa. Through the eyes of Africa, striking music they go on. We will show you how we dance, Agbajans and so on. Our footsteps on the ground, and the music they go on. Hey, Africa. Africa, hey. Ujama Africa, hey. Harambe Africa, hey. We know we are lions, cause we were born in Africa. We know we are lions, cause we were born in Africa. Through the eyes of Africa, striking music they go on. We will show you how we dance, Agbajans and so on. Our footsteps on the ground, and the music they go on. Hey, Africa.
You know, Isaac, I just feel like sitting quiet and listening to the song, man. You see, all of us are just quiet. What are we doing? Man, I think I'm enjoying more than you guys. I'm watching the YouTube video.
Oh, okay. I can imagine that you're enjoying it more than me.
I am. Isaac, are you sure you're connected? I can't hear you. Yeah, check in. Yeah, because Aboli, Isaac was our sound guy. He was the one saying, "Oh, right, I can't hear you. Oh, Aboli, I can't hear you." Then when we go live, we can't hear him.
I have kids. I'm in the living room here, so I have kids around. So when they come shouting, I just myself a bit.
I get it. I mean, it's very funny because you were the sound check guy. Then when we went live, you were not audible. It's amazing, right? That's what they say. God is a clown. He likes making jokes like that. Mashallah.
Obase Aboli.
Yeah. So I think
that's a powerful name. I think, Brian, you were about to tell me the meaning of Obase.
Yeah, I was saying in my dialect it means Papa God. Right? Am I mistaken, Obase?
Yeah, it means God.
Yeah.
No, we have to put Papa God there to make it really.
Yeah, but you know how we have small gods, and then Obase is going to be the supreme God.
Godhead.
The what?
You know how in the African traditional religions we have the small gods.
Yes.
So Obase is going to be the supreme God. Obase is the supreme God.
Oh, is the Olua?
Oludumare.
Yes.
Yeah, Oludumare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, wow.
So when you say Obase Aboli, it's like saying that God do it. It's God who has done it. It's like
wow.
So
do you think the name? So do you think the name is too heavy for you, or you like it, or it just has inspired you in some way?
The name is not heavy for me at all. It fits perfectly. I think that it fits perfectly, and some way somehow it's unconsciously driven me. You know, it's a name that I used to detest because it came already when I was like 10 years old, when I was like in Form 2. So my friends who had never heard it before, they used to laugh at me a lot. until I met a teacher to report them, and the teacher told me, if you don't love the name, they always use it against you. So I decided, at that time I used to play football, so I decided to write the name on all of my jerseys and on my uniform, very big, and the rest is history.
Did you stop playing soccer? Isaac, this is a wonderful footballer, man. Like,
are you serious?
Yeah, let me give you heads up. When I was in UB, I was the president of my excellent association, and we took the cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my testimony. We took the cup. These were our players.
You guys picked the cup?
Yeah, we took the cup. Finals, Choppers Cup. You remember, Aboli? Choppers competition.
Yeah,
you were there. Vidal.
Yes,
at some fact, man, like these guys. Well, let's just start. It's your day, Aboli. Thanks for honoring us with your presence here. Like this space is there to show the rough work of leaders in the various sectors like you. Like you mentioned earlier, your name itself is a source of strength, right? So maybe there's a kid somewhere in Bokwai who will be thinking that his name does not make sense, but when he hears the Aboli, Obase, your struggles and the rest, he may muster some courage and go on with his life. So thank you for appearing.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Brian. It's my pleasure, Isaac, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Isaac, welcome to man. We have been very busy this like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has tested us in wonderful ways, be it at the family level, job level. So we've had a lot to do. Isaac and I have not really had time to catch up for a long time. So this is like our first episode after a while. We've been very busy. So welcome to you too, Isaac.
Yeah, man. Welcome you too, Brian. It's good. It's good to be here, man. So fresh, and this guy is just smiling. He's just making everything all correct. And I already like you, a hybrid of soccer and music. Come on, man. It's the dream of every African here. It's the toast of every African. Nice one, Aboli.
Thank you, Brian. I think that we have something in common on our neck.
Oh, this is it the same?
I don't know if the same. Mine is a camel bone.
Mine, I don't even know what it is, but police officers have stopped me to touch it.
Oh, really?
Yes, like many times, and I've
touch it.
Yes, to touch it, and I've had colleagues, and even like directors that have stopped me to look at it and say, "What is this?" And then somebody have suggested that I should say that it's a trophy that I went and beat an elephant up and took it.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
that's nice, man. So Obase, today now your day. They speak pidgin English, ba?
Why not? I know we talk pidgin English.
Correct. So today now your day. Please, we'd like you to tell us about who you are. Take us back on the journey. From your growing up to become who you are. Please take us through the football, the name Obase, to getting into the music, the celebration, Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, and all of that.
That's a very long history. I don't know, but I'll start somewhere at least.
We're not in a hurry.
Kind of take it to somewhere. Obase Aboli. My name's Thierry Masango Obase Aboli Namolongo. There are other names, that's by the way. But because when I was baptized, I was given a name. When I was confirmed, I was given another name, But at the point, I just said, my name's Masango Obase Aboli Namolongo. If I'm African, I just take those names. I leave the Thierry and every other thing out. I was born to a family of with my mom, 4 girls, 1 boy. I have stepsisters, stepbrothers, but those I grew up with. And I'm the only boy for my mother. And I'm the most stubborn child that she ever had and she probably ever experienced. So I grew up from Ikondo Titi to Limbe. I think that's where Brian as well grew up, Ikondo Titi.
Yes.
Yeah.
The flag is always shining.
And to Limbe in Cameroon, and then part of my primary school in Limbe. And it's in primary school that I started doing, like the last year in primary school, I started getting into choral music, but I had been playing football for as long as, I don't know when, maybe as long as I was born. So deep in heart, I used to be a footballer more than a musician. And so later on from primary school, I went to Bishop Rogan, and somewhere, somehow in Bishop Rogan, we learned music as a subject. I was following Brian's discussion yesterday with Frank Sadat.
Yeah.
It wasn't an amusing subject at all. I must say, for myself, I say every time that I can barely remember the number of times I passed music, as a subject, because it used to be as difficult, especially if you're encountering it for the first time. Music theory sometimes can be as difficult as physics.
Yeah, it is.
Treble
clef.
Yeah, I remember
that.
Yeah, and the time when we had music on the school program didn't help, because a lot of times it came directly before lunch. At that time, we are exhausted, you are just excited to go eat and all of that. So, so my first year, second year, I had to study to pass. But I think that what helped me was that from first year, I had the urge to belong to the school choir. It was called the special choir because in our school, everybody was a choir.
The whole school is a choir.
But there was a special choir,
Plus Brian.
Yeah, man. Like,
yeah.
Man has never sung on this show before.
Isaac,
you want to give him a challenge to sing today.
He's going to sing.
Brian, you said yes, man.
Wait, let me see.
Brian, did you say yes, man?
Wait. I will sing later, man. Continue.
Obase, let's go. We'll come back to you.
So, I had the urge to belong to the special choir, but that didn't happen until maybe my fourth year or my fifth year, But what I think what happened was that just into Form 1, it was my first time to see the xylophone, an instrument called the xylophone. I'd never heard it played before. I'd never seen it before. I came to meet it in that school, and I thought that I liked it. So I remember that during the time, we had a rector, Father Javis, KB, who had bought instruments for the school, and he bought the new sets of xylophones. So the old sets of xylophones were taken out and kept behind the chapel. So even at that time, I had classmates who, during sports time, we went to the back of the chapel, spent the first part of our sports time, trying to learn the xylophone as early as that time. And I had classmates like Fritz Ashu, Yannick Tabe, who never ever played the xylophone in school, like the main xylophone, but who came into school who knew how to play already. And those were the people I started learning from, and then after a while in Bishop Rogan, maybe like Form 4, Form 5, I became the school xylophonist, and the story is that we had people in our class who were good. I had classmates like Jeremiah Moki, John Fonge, who were good, who were far better, but when our main xylophonist had left,
was it Toko Gabriel, Bawak Benson?
Yes, Toko Gabriel.
Yeah.
Toko Gabriel played xylophone throughout until I was in Form 5. That's when he left.
Yeah.
So when we came to Form 5, he had left, and we needed a replacement. So those who were in my class were the only possible xylophonists that could take over. And I remember that we had a singing practice with Father Epa Mugaga. At that time, he was on pastoral year. And we needed to play a mass the next Sunday in church. So we started trying one person after the other, and we couldn't, survive because nobody could really play it. Not up to 50%, but closest enough to be acceptable. So that night, I went to the music room. I practiced the xylophone till about 2 a.m. And I had to practice it so quietly that the night watch was not going to hear. I think I've not spoken about this story anywhere else. Yeah. So Washishi will not hear me practice.
man, that man was a spirit. Anyway, sorry, continue.
So, and that's how later on the next day on Saturday morning, I could manage to play for the mass, for the singing and then for the mass. And I tell you, before the next session that we're going to use the xylophone in church, I had challenged myself to practice it enough and then became the main xylophone of the school. And
Mashallah.
the challenge went on, and I think that the rest is history because the Bureau magazine records the fact that I was best xylophonist in the school from Form 5 till I left.
Mashallah.
You
Oh
know,
wow.
and and then I also became the singing prefect in lower seats and then in upper seats. And yeah, as far I think that so far with my music, that's the bit of it. And I'm paying much attention to the xylophone because that's my selling point. That's my brand right now. And that's what I want to sell. So I'll sell it with the least opportunity I have. Brian just told you I used to play football,
Yeah, very well, man.
and up until high school, even when I was in high school,
You
I was
did
more a
professional
footballer
football.
than.
You did professional football for a bit, right?
Yeah, I did
Okay.
professional football in Boya. I played in Cameroon,
Yeah,
for a
mashallah.
while.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
play from which position?
I played midfield,
Oh
attacking
wow.
midfield.
You play
Sometimes,
four, you play four, you play
No,
eight, you play
six,
no,
10.
six and
I
eight.
play eight, maybe eight, 10, sometimes six. Yeah.
Six.
Yeah.
Very nice positions, man. Very interesting positions. That means
Yeah,
that you are the engine house.
yeah.
You
Logistics.
are a workaholic
He's in
too.
charge of logistics, looking around, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like a traffic
So
Yeah.
cop.
you have to learn how to turn around the field like a
Yeah,
ceiling fan. That's how we say
Yeah.
it.
mashallah. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, like that. You have just brought me so many memories. When I was in St. Francis too, I was a xylophonist. I was playing the drums, the piano, the xylophones, and
Yeah.
you won't believe my own story. I actually went and played because I didn't want to work. So I saw people working. I was looking for something else to do because mostly while people are working, there is the choir people like they sing it. So I
Yeah.
would prefer to.
Yeah.
I don't want to work. So I came from Bishop Rogan and the same school Isaac. We had like music lab and all what he had said. We studied music.
Mm.
So when I went there, I to dodge work. I went and played the drums. I remember
Oh,
Usena
nice.
Umaru. Yeah, I think I'm grateful to her. She gave me the chance. I played it after work. No one knows this story actually. I think my wife
Mm.
does. So I went and
Yeah, let's
played,
hear
and
it.
then I left. The next day, she came and pulled me out that I should play again, and that's how I started playing, practicing the xylophone and the piano, and it's a really beautiful journey. And I have a question then. Sorry
Yeah.
to interject because on my part, I discovered a lot about myself playing the instruments, right? And that keeps me going on several endeavors today. My left hand, for example, I couldn't coordinate it with the right hand. So
Yeah.
then, when I started playing the xylophone, I was worried that I would not be able to control it. But with practice, and it doesn't take up to 3 days, it balances on its
Yeah.
own. So that's why even today, if I want to learn even rocket science, I know that I just have to practice. So did you have that
Mm.
journey too? Were there times when you maybe convinced yourself that you can't do this thing, but some other drive kept you going, and then you realized that, man, like thank God I kept on.
I think, yeah, I think there are times when I'm a very stubborn person. I say that, and I always tell people that in me, I found the importance of stubbornness. I say all the time that stubbornness in children, for me, it's a very positive sign that when they grow up, they can have and make decisions on their own,
Yeah.
and they can be consistent. They can insist on what they want. You see,
Mhm.
so when I challenge myself to do something, I just go all out. It's like Mike Tyson says that when he wants to do something, he goes all out such that if he doesn't succeed, he'll die. You know,
Mashallah.
that's
Yeah,
the
I
kind of
see.
emotion that I put some time when I want to do something. So it makes it on the xylophone. I can learn anything I want to learn, you know, because I'll give the amount of patience that I need. I can slow it down. I can take as much time. If I decide I want to learn it, I'll learn it. That's it for me. And the thing with musical instruments that a lot of people who notice is that you can't cheat the learning process of a musical instrument. You have to take it and learn it the right way, or you never play it the right way. And so when you're learning an instrument, you don't just learn music. You learn patience. You learn a lot of other things with life, and it calms you down. So once you've learned the instrument to a certain level and you're passionate about it, I mean, when I put my mind that I want to learn it, I face the same thing on the xylophone, because the way we learned it back at home is different from the way we learn it, the Malians or people from Burkina Faso, or those the Wondos from Yaoundé in Cameroon who learn it, or even those from the Calabar, in Nigeria who learn it.
Gambia
So
too.
when I encountered these people, Burkina Faso, Senegal, Mali, I realized that I had to learn the instrument all over again. And right now I'm talking to you, I'm planning a trip to Burkina Faso, to learn how to play the xylophone. I'm talking with a professor in University of Ghana. I want to learn how to play the xylophone, the kind of xylophone they use. So I very much don't think that I've gotten to any point in the instrument where I can call myself a maestro. So I have much more the passion to learn. As that last year, my manager, a lady, she was asking me that, let's put this thing on. Let's take this xylophone and put it on, because what she's seeing is so good, it's amazing. And I told her that no, I've given myself 1 year to learn it before I ever put a video on Facebook. You understand? And she pushed me so hard. And when I put the first video, the second video, I saw the feedback. I was surprised, because for me, I didn't know enough. So I mean, that's the journey with the instrument and everything else with music. And when you tell me that, for example, if I want to do this when I'm doing a concert, and you tell me that, Obase, you're not good at doing this, I'll look for a class where I can learn how to do this and learn it to perfection and come back to do this, so that I tell you that I can do this. You see, that's what drives me sometimes. I mean, that's it.
Mashallah. I think Isaac has experienced this too in his own craft. It's like your first story, Isaac, that you have to write, or your first coverage that you do as a journalist. And for me, my main craft in programming is the first app that you make live. You see that there's fire on your ass, and then that alone makes you excel. So now there are like schools of thought, people that's the mindset you had when you thought that you should learn for that 1 year and before playing. But the funny thing is that if you went that route, you would have maybe wanted to do PhD in the same thing. But when you start practicing, there's something that happens. The muses to like connect with your effort, and then you're blessed like in Suto and on the journey.
Yeah.
I think for me, the Obasi, you have helped us, with the fact that you see positivity in stubbornness. You see that stubbornness actually has resilience. Stubbornness actually brings about the crave for perfection, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is what you would like to share with the African brothers, especially people who are into instruments. Yeah, so I just like to know, like, how long does it normally take if you want to be a drummer, or if you want to play piano? How long does it take? When do you know that you are good enough to begin to put out your art?
So I think that those are two questions. Maybe how long does it take to know that, to learn the instrument, and once you are perform, once you know or learn the instrument, when do you know that you are good enough, to put up the art? How long it takes to learn the instrument, for me, I think it depends on the dedication that you give to it. You see, on the one hand, and the means with which you're learning. So if I'm teaching somebody and you spend 30 minutes each day on an instrument when you're learning, in in maybe 6 months to 1 year, you can learn enough to try and to play the instrument a little, maybe comfortably. I've not said that you'll be very good at it. Some people get good at it, but I think you learn enough to be comfortable at least with the instruments. Maybe piano, guitar, xylophone. If you spend like 30 minutes to 1 hour every day on the instrument. Now, if you're spending 1 hour a week on the instrument, that's going to take you a longer time because the musical instrument, what you learn, it's muscle memory. It's not your brain that memorizes what you learn. It's your muscle. So the more you practice, the more you practice, the more it retains it. So even when your brain is telling you that you don't know, when you practice, the muscles memorizes everything and you play. So if you don't have a consistent practice schedule, it's going to become very difficult for you, and the learning process is going to get distorted. I personally get very depressed and very worried if I go for a number of days without practicing. And my manager can tell you that I get so very disturbed. Now, when do you think that you're good enough, to put it out there? That depends now on the person. Some people are perfectionists. Some people need to just learn a little and they'll show off with it. Some people who go on to learn for 5 years and still don't think that they are good enough. And like Andrea Bocelli, the Italian tenor singer, says that sometimes you don't decide to be a musician. You don't decide that you are good at something. People tell you, people give you feedback to know that you are very good at it. Those are the dynamics. With me, I think that when I was in Bishop Rogan, it got to a point where the school gave me the feedback that I was good. How? Because I played and people were like, wow. Because at the end of the day, they gave awards and they gave me awards for the best xylophonist. When I went out of Bishop Rogan and I traveled and I met, xylophonists, I thought that I didn't know anything. So I had to go back to the learning process. And that's when I felt that I wasn't good enough until somebody came to tell me that I like what you do, And it's like Obama says that the threat of somebody who likes to be great is the fact that he sees what he does like he doesn't know enough. So you want to know more, Maybe that's what happened to me. But for me, there's no time when you are an amazing. For me, there's no time when you're a perfect musician. We all as a musician, as musicians, we die learning every day because it's such a huge space. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I think you answered my question. You say you die learning.
Yeah,
you
die learning.
You die learning. That means the space, the musical space. I mean, the knowledge in music, that you can cover is. I mean, you cannot achieve all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's infinite. Music it's spiritual. So if you think about it as something physical, you not get in touch with anything. So it's spiritual. So it's infinite.
Yeah.
So the more you learn, the more you know that you have to learn.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Say hello to Obase. You come and say hello. Yeah, say bye-bye.
How are you?
Say so fine.
How are you?
That's Basi. That's Brian there.
Hello, Brian.
Hey, how are you?
Fine. Oh yeah, go. When we finish, you come and say hello to him.
Yeah. After this, we'll have a chat. We'll have a meeting, okay?
Yeah. There go.
Yeah,
that's
so that is it.
And so, how do you do when you catch yourself improvising? Because with practice and like you said, the muscles is like a hard drive, right? It's to memorize those things and store them there. But again, there are times when you improvise without even knowing. How do you do when you catch yourself doing that?
You see, I don't know if you know Isaac. I'm sure Brian will know if you know Richard Bona.
Yeah, I do. Oh, sorry, Isaac.
Yeah, Richard Bona said in one of his interviews at I think NYU, he said that for him, there's nothing as spontaneous improvisation. You understand? You improvise. What you improvise is what you practice
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah, I
Now,
see.
when you're on stage, you do a combination of all of those things that come around. You understand? So if there's something as spontaneous improvisation that it's from without practice, it means that you can just wake up without playing the instrument and just start to improvise. But I can improvise
Yeah.
because I I go through proper practice, practice different leagues, different skills, different things. I do so many different things, and I allow myself to be free in the process of practicing, such
Okay.
that when I come on stage, I have a cloud of all of these things,
Okay.
you
Mm.
know,
It's like
to
a
choose
symphony.
from,
Yeah, right.
depending on the
Okay, I see.
mood,
Yeah, right. I
you
see.
know.
Yeah.
So that's how the improvisation comes about.
Mashallah. You know, Richard Bonner further mentioned in that interview that there's no such thing as improvisation. Like a musician, that real improvisation is when you're walking and you see a lion. Then you
Yes.
improvise.
Then you know you improvise. Yes. Then you
Isaac,
improvise.
that way
You know
you're
what?
walking and you see a lion. That's where you understand what
Then you improvise.
improvisation means.
Yeah, of course.
I
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me share with you, Obase, and I studied drama, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Drama in the university. So, we come on stage and we perform, so there was this class before mine. They were on stage and they had this pots where there's a fire and they raised the fire up. So unfortunately, on that day, I think the guy raised it up too high, and there was a roof, and the roof this had this thatch roof, the thatch roof, the roof that is made of grass, you
Yeah.
know. And when he raised it up, the fire from the pot just caught the whole roof.
Yeah.
And that was not part of the show. But then, being good dramatists, they just turned it, oh, there is fire. Oh, the gods are angry. And all of that. And they started running around and they got fire and they got
Mashallah.
water. They just ran out of stage, brought water. So if you are not familiar, with the play, you would not
Yeah,
know that, that
Yeah.
was not supposed to be part of.
of
So I'm
course.
just trying to say here that the beauty of being able to to react to situations,
Yeah.
for spontaneity, in art is just so beautiful. I think that's the height. That's what makes an artist,
Yeah.
Yes.
stand, on his own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know.
Isaac, I that's how I went for this birthday party, and it was unfortunately because my friend was the MC, so he now made me to open the floor with the host's grandmother. So
What?
we're dancing. That's how I spins the grandmother without even knowing.
Jesus
I
Christ.
just spinned it like we're just dancing, man, and just talk about how these things happen. You see, we
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like there was just a kind of flow, and I was
yeah,
asking Obase about it because, like in our crafts, there are things that your mind because it's about combinations, right? You have the notations. If you have five things, you can combine them in 120 ways, right? But then, since the mind is as beautiful and since the soul itself can reflect perfection, it could be God or whatever it is that the person believes in. There are moments where you practice a particular combination, but because of harmony and the idea of harmony, even in spirit, you can further try other combinations that you didn't actually practice. I don't know if you see what I mean. So
Yeah.
yeah, so me on my part, sometimes that blows my mind. You see, like it could be in programming when I see something and then I Google and no one has actually done that. You see what
yeah,
I mean? It's like it's a
yeah,
feeling that I can't really capture. So that's what I was interested in knowing.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that you practice repeatedly and you get to an extent. Now to that point where you've gotten, now when you're on stage, you get inspired, you use those things that you got while you practice, you understand, you turn them around to, so it's a matter of combination.
Yeah.
And being free spirited. So I
Yes.
personally am not very good at memorizing maybe numbers, maybe notes and those things. So even when I practice, if you give me a song, to to cram. If you give me things to cram, I wouldn't do that very well. But if you allow me to practice, you know, and then get on stage and try to be creative, that's my strong point. So,
Oh,
but I
wow.
do a lot of memorization, and then so I play like a jazz solo, just as it is, even if it's 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I'll transcribe the notes and then play it like that. I do that a lot. I'm working on one or two of them right now, actually.
Mashallah.
But I as well like to be free, so it's what you practice that open doors for those channels of improvisation.
Yeah,
You see,
mashallah.
once you don't have that key to open the doors to the channels of improvisation, there's no way you can make use of it. You know,
I,
Yeah, mashallah.
so I'll mention what I did with my xylophone, for example. We normally play one xylophone, for a person. So I encountered a xylophonist from Mali who used the two, in one of his sessions. And I looked at it and I thought that it's something that I could do because I like to stand out. I like to be different, So I took both. But what happened, I think that when I put the C major xylophone and the F sharp major xylophone, there are some notes that will repeat,
Yeah,
So I took off the notes that repeated and I took notes from the Indian makam, like the Indian scale,
mashallah.
you
Yeah,
know,
I see.
and
Yeah.
fitted it in there so that I can try to make use of that. And I'm still trying to experiment, with that kind of skill so that maybe I can come
Wow.
out to the Obase Aboli skill.
Man, that would be amazing.
yeah,
It's like using
you know,
French in English or speaking and
like,
then mixing it with a bit of Latin or
yeah.
Arabic. You see
So
what I
when I
mean?
play with it, when I
Yeah.
play right now,
Mhm.
I make a lot of use of it. And
Okay.
instrumentalists tell me that that note is flat. That note, the xylophone is flat. That note is flat. The truth is that it's not flat. You just don't have it on the diatonic system. You don't have it
Yeah,
on the
right. Yeah.
keyboard, and it's intentional.
Yeah.
But after a while, people get used to.
Yeah, they get
So
used to him.
even from the beginning of the process, you can improvise on how you want your instrument to look like, how you want your craft to look like, before getting into the practice, before getting on stage, before all of that. You make all of those decisions.
Mashallah. And about
I
that
think,
thing, right? Oh, sorry, Isaac, go on.
yeah, I think, Obasi, I think you like freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you like freedom. I think you don't like limitations. So
Not at all.
whatever kind of music you want to do, you always want to make it as free as possible. So
Yeah.
you internalize it and turn it into an art form, that you so desire, something that is surreal, something that is out there. And I
Yeah,
think
of
that is
course.
the kind of thing that this age actually requires. People like new things, Brian.
Yeah.
People like things to shock them. People like, so and that is interesting. I like to understand um how what is the you talked about xylophone from Mali, xylophone from Cameroon, xylophone from even Calabar. What are their variations? What are their
Um,
differences?
um, there, there's,
Because a guitar in the hands of Bob Marley in Jamaica, if you know the same notes here in Nigeria, the same how to, I mean, it's the same thing, but
yes,
you seem to be talking differently about the xylophone.
no, so there are really very little variations in terms of the structure of the instrument. The variations come in mostly in the playing style. You understand?
Okay.
So the xylophone in Cameroon, especially in the southwest, the central region, littoral of Cameroon, is the same structure like the xylophone that will be used in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Senegal.
Hmm.
You understand? But the Malians, when they play the xylophone, if the I don't know if the play, I don't know if you can hear the notes.
Yeah, I can hear
Do,
that.
do me
Please
for
So the
again.
some.
Malians make a lot of use of these notes.
Mashallah.
So the Malians make a lot of use of that particular note. You understand? Now, when you come to Cameroon, we play a lot of diatonic music.
And
You know,
me do alright.
so it's just straight away skills, and it's the same thing from Nigeria because we share a lot with the Nigerians.
Yeah.
You know, and then Burkina Faso and Senegal, and Mali, and then Burkina Faso, Senegal, Mali, and
Gambia too.
um, the country from Guinea. You know, it's the same kind of xylophone. Now, when you come to the northern part of Ghana and the northern part of Cameroon and the northwest part of Cameroon, they use a xylophone that is a little bit shorter, you know, and that has more vibrations, and it's built on the pentatonic scales, the scale that has 5 notes. So it's more, you're going to hear more.
Yeah, and that's the one you play me do re
Yes.
re.
You see, so it's something like
Mashallah.
that. So you hear a lot of xylophones from the north, from the northwest of Cameroon, and then from the northern part of other countries using just the pentatonic scales. And then there's also Zimbabwe. There are other countries that use the xylophone, but it's the same kind of instrument. It's just like you have the guitar, but they'll tell you that there's a guitar for blues, the blues guitar. There's the classical guitar. This is perfect for classical music. This is perfect for this. This one you use the plastic strings. This one you use the nylon strings just to get different sounds, and you know, and all of those kind of things. But it's the same instrument that cuts across Africa, and I think that is one of the single instruments that we have in so many African countries that was born in Africa.
Mashallah. With the Kora. The Kora too is another. You remember when you and I chatted, I have to go to Mali. Just like you want to go to Guinea. I would love to go learn the Kora. I pray the Subhanahu wa Ta'ala guides me so I can see Tumani and the rest, like to learn the Kora, because that's magic. I want to learn how to play that thing.
So the kora, the xylophone, just a very typical African instrument, you know. And I mean,
you know, I just remembered, like in Morocco, Isaac, looks like your sound has an issue. So remember, like, okay,
Yeah,
you're back,
okay.
you're back, yeah. So this just caught my attention. Remember, like the Master of Sacred Heart, where they used to do this guy, Bawak Benson, brought another way to harmonize it, that when like Toko will start, Bawak Benson will come in. You remember that? It's
yeah,
like
of course.
it's like instead of going the normal way, he would just like harmonize it. Like if you're playing with Do, he plays with me. If you're playing, you see what I mean? Like it just used to
So he
blow
plays
my
it
mind. Yeah.
yeah, like a third below.
Yeah, like the 10. Yeah, so I just thought of that as we're talking about this. And it takes me back to those days, man. Those are things that when they used to tell us in school, take this thing seriously, some of us would think that they're joking. These people don't know what they're talking about. And today, it's something that I would not be surprised if Africa has, like, development of Africa may come from the arts section, like arts and culture. Like it looks like that's what will start waking us up.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
see,
I
sorry,
mean,
I when I had an interview with Eye of a Lagos Boy, I think it's the Ghana-based, it's the Nigerian Lagos-based magazine website that featured me. I think it was 2 days ago, or 3 days ago. And when they asked me that what was my um, takeoff takeoff message
Yeah.
to artists, to Africans, I said that our music, our art is the new oil and the new gold
Mashallah.
in Africa. You understand?
Yeah.
And that is the oil and the gold that we have that cannot be taken from us. You
Yeah.
understand? We, the West can come and export our oil. The West can come and export our gold. The West can even come and export our, footballers. You understand? But where you have to pay tribute to what sounds African, you cannot take that from us. And once we realize that, I think that a lot of governments, like Nigeria, when Nigeria realized the amount of money and wealth that is in its music and arts industry, they'll pay attention to it just as much as they pay attention to the oil industry. Because
I think for Nigeria, the government already they respect, they already respect it, and already, aside from even just the wealth, it's great. It is even creating what a political force. If you see the NSAS protest, you could see when Wizkid came in, lended his voice, the video, you could see immediately the whole world peaked. So as you said, music is our voice, music is our strength in Africa. Music, it's our essence, basically, because I remember growing up in the village then, man. Everybody they sing now. People they play drums. Art, it's an art form that everybody must do something. You must play flute. You must do this thing. And when they come during Christmas, to do all those celebrations, everybody is involved. So so I agree with you totally. That is our essence. That is our new goal, and nobody can buy it. Look at how they are featuring you guys all over the world now. The video. Wizkid, they are just all these big stars in the UK, in the United States. They are just featuring, doing songs with them, left, right, and center. And that brings me to what I really wanted to understand, right? What is the future of xylophone? In Nigerian music.
He is the future. Obali's coming to Nigeria.
Are you the future? Are you the future? And I know if I ask now, you say it's 2 questions.
No, it's not 2 questions. Like, I'll say that, like you said you don't talk.
You have to sound like Jesus.
Yeah.
So, when you listen to, let me go back to my piano. When you listen to a lot of the music that comes out today, even the Afrobeats, a lot of Afrobeats and all of that, if you listen keenly, there's a lot of xylophone in them. Now, the difference is that they play them on the piano. It's like electronic. For example, if I tell you, say, I love you, you see, what they do is that, and that's why I went to the xylophone. So if you listen to If I Tell You, Say I Love You, the song, so you hear a lot of bang bang, bang bang,
the rhythm,
Yes. So I started doing that with the xylophone. I have a song that I use the 4 sticks on a natural xylophone to play the chords for the song throughout. Now, for me, I thought that the xylophone was a traditional instrument and people saw it as such. Now, so it was, for me, it looked like an instrument that when it is called, people think about an instrument that is played in the village. Right? It didn't have, especially in part of West Africa, it didn't have a place when people were playing guitars and pianos and all of that. Now, one of the reasons was because probably the way that the instrument was structured, it was limited. So you could just play a few songs, maybe on a particular key.
I see.
And you couldn't go beyond that. So, and I felt that the future for that instrument is for us to place it side by side, the piano, the guitar, and every other instrument that can play it. So, and how do you do that? That's when I decided that I have to combine 2 xylophones so that I can get the full scale and I have the liberty of playing anything that any instrument can play on the one hand. Now, then I started doing a lot of covers, music covers. Now, I didn't go back to look at those village, those traditional songs and those things. No, I started looking at very contemporary music like Flavor, Whiskey, Davido, Charlotte Panda, some of those kind of songs that our youth listen to. And then I did xylophone covers on them. Now, a lot of people started appreciating the instrument to realize that, oh, this instrument can be used in this kind of music. It's no longer just what we used to hear in church or something that we heard in the village, but it's something that sounds as nice as the piano, as nice as the guitar. It has its own unique sound. You understand? So
That's
for me, if you ask me the future...
Just a minute. Brian, Obase, do you have any of these songs, any of this work that's on like YouTube that we can pull out so that our
yes, if you go to my YouTube page, you see a few songs. I have a song by Address My Case and some of those kind of songs.
Let me put this. Just a minute.
You know, this is music. People want to listen to enjoy the original.
Right. So we don't just talk theory. Or
these guys are just.
There's a song there, Address My Case.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to
show you. I did the cover. There are a few covers there.
All right. Good. So you go on while he's
I already shared it. Yeah.
So I started doing a lot of those covers, and for me, that's the future of the instrument from my own campaign area. You understand? Because I'm looking at placing the instrument in my power, you know, at the same place where anybody will play. I mean, I play piano, I play some kind of guitar and a few other instruments. But I choose to play the xylophone because I felt that it's something I played as a child. It's something that made me famous as a child. But growing up, it wiped away. I was in part of the generation that saw the xylophone going away, and we took in piano and guitar in church. You understand? And so I started playing the xylophone on the piano. So after a while, I realized that I couldn't play piano as much as these white folks play piano. It's not my instrument. It's not what I was born with. So I had to go back to that instrument. You know, and for me, that's the direction where the instrument is going to, you know.
Actually, you know, in economics, they call that competitive advantage. When you see that this man in Nigeria, just like Isaac's countryman is making much gari, I better focus me on rice. Gari.
Okay, and that brings me to a point that me and Brian and Tino and who else Alonge that we're talking about, and you're here now. So Brian, okay. So let's.
Yeah, it's been playing. I just shared it now on Zoom. Actually, can you see Isaac?
Yeah, I can see, man. Please let it roll.
Let me shift it back a little.
So
I would like. Is this a thing they call soul music? So is this a thing they call soul music? Why am I feeling it in my soul, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, Isaac, go on. Sorry.
This is ingenious, Obase. This is ingenious. Why did you think of doing this? Now I now get the picture. Maybe my question should be repeated. What spurred you into doing this, man? What's the craziness? Did you smoke some Igbo or what? Or is it good that you took or what?
Igbo smoked
sometimes I think that I at a point I felt that I want to do music professionally, but I had to search in myself what my brand was going to look like. It took me a while and a lot of insults, you know, for me to finally fall on this. You know, because some people said I was try, you know, I was trying everything. Some people said I was, you know, lost, you know, a lot of things, you know. But I mean, you need to have the spirit where something tells you inside that you are searching for something. When you find it, your heart tells you that this is where you want to be. And then you see. So for me, on the one hand, my journey has been in a way that I think that God called me for things like this, for this.
Yeah, man.
So if I look at it back from the recall, how I got into the instrument, how I abandoned the instrument, got to pick it back later, and all of those things, it's a perfect journey for me. And I can only tell you that I decided to do it because I have passion for the instrument. But there's a spiritual part of it that I leave it to the hands of, Allah. I leave it to the hands of God.
Mashallah.
Now let me ask you something, Obase. Can you see your face? Can you look at your face? Brian, look at Obase's face. And look at this one that is playing the instrument now.
Yeah. They're two different people.
He seems not to be in this world. That's a different person there, you see?
Yeah, he's doing what they call a noetic ritual, right? That's what I think Obase would chime in this. Please help where I get stuck. Like Isaac, if you go back to Greece, right, when Socrates and the rest used to talk, they were channeling energies from the Platonic world, that perfect world, channeling it down. So they called they called it a noetic ritual. Noesis means knowledge, understanding. So this is a noetic ritual where he's connecting to his understanding and to the knowledge he has about this craft and channeling it back to us. And then we connect at that frequency and then can enjoy it. So the whole thing is a ritual.
Yeah, I say a lot of times that musicians and maybe artists, musicians are the only group of people who have the opportunity, the luxury of having an orgasm when they are not having sex.
Even programmers, man, I always have
because, once you are on stage or performing like that, you get into a flow. It's like seeing Lionel Messi in the field playing football. He gets into a flow in such a way that he does it so perfectly, you think it's so easy. So when I get on stage, a lot of times I get into a side of me that a lot of people don't easily see. And that's so there, like you said, I'm in another world. I get hit and I feel the heat from the notes that I hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hit the note and I twist my face.
And you hit the note and your heart and your soul agrees with the note.
Yes. So a lot of musicians have that feeling. That's why you see a musician plays an instrument and he hits the note and
and then he shakes like that, like.
And
even the Malians always do that, and especially this guy. And then some of them, and that's what happens when we react to it. Sometimes some people that have the ability to vibrate at that frequency, it hits them too. So like Tumanyi has with that the kora, he plays very sharp tone. So there are times when people cry when he's playing because that's how he hits them. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, nice, man! I'm so happy for you. And why I'll tell you I'm so happy for you is that you found your essence, right? I think so. From just seeing your face there, I think you found your essence. You found why God created you. You found your connection to your God. Whoever your God is, Oludumirare or who, you found your essence to your God. And I just urge you to keep it on, man. You have more and more and more to transmit to us. More. Look at this.
Man,
look at this.
I'm telling you, is this soul music? Why do I feel it in my soul? That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
I have a question though, Isaac. Now, when you look at the world today, divine justice, as I experience it, maybe something else is probably the idea that you reap what you sow, right? And no matter what you have in your head, you have to be practical to a certain degree. So how do you merge all this talent, this quest, this enjoyment that you have with sustainability? Because a lot of, even in other fields, engineering, journalism, no matter how skilled you are, if you can't make bread with it, even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be like, this fool? Why did I send you here?
This
So how do you
he has
marry and
he has
reconcile?
wasted my degree.
This mumu,
He
yeah,
has wasted
this
my
mumu. So
Yeah.
how I would like to understand how you reconcile your participation in these Nordic rituals and sustainability, both at your level as an individual and also as a blueprint for artists and those that will come after you and after us.
So I grew up in a culture where we played music in church. I'm sure you understand that. And what I found was that we played a lot of free music, what I call free music, because we played it and then we were told that God will bless us. You understand?
Yeah.
And we didn't feel the effect of it at the time because I was my mother's house.
Yeah.
So all I needed was to get transport to go to church and play, and I was very passionate about it. So I can play for the whole day and get transport to go back home. Now I moved on to say, okay, I want to do professional music. So saying that I want to do professional music, I got myself open to learn the business part of it.
Okay.
So, and everybody who knows me know that in as much as I dream so badly to be the best musician in the world, I also dream equally to be the richest man in the world.
Mashallah.
And the only way that I can combine both of them is to make my art, to monetize my art.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with a proper plan. So, but what I say for a lot of artists is that some people are able to learn to monetize their art. Other people are never able to combine both, because sometimes one part of it distracts the other. So what happens is that you build a team and get somebody on board who is coming just to sell the art. While you pay attention to the passion part of it, there should be somebody on board who pays attention to making money out of it. Otherwise, you play a lot of free music even though you're not playing in church. Otherwise, and that's what you find a lot of people. You work with people, you call, and I think that we're still learning to put value to our art, especially in Africa, because sometimes you call people, you want to work with people, and you ask them, how much do I pay you? They tell you anything. So I don't go for that. I've had shows even at this stage that have been called and say, you should come and play here, we're going to give you this. And we said no. We need this, we need this amount, we need to pay this because this is what we are valued. You understand? You put down a rate card. And we have shows that we've been called and they said, come and play here at this time and that time. And we said, okay, no, I don't think that I'm ready to come and play in this terrain now. I don't want to come to play in this terrain now. Sometimes you turn it down and I said, no, this is how much I value my services, my art, and this is how much I can pay. So the more we can tell people, because sometimes you tell people that pay me this and they tell you that but you're just coming to play 1, 2, 3 songs. Why are you charging me as much as this and that? But they don't know how much you put to come out with those 3 songs. They don't know how much you put, to get everything together, costume, your music, how much you've invested into it. So you have to make them to understand, Otherwise, it's not sustainable. It's a very rich industry, and I mean, it's gradually getting there,
Mashallah. Thanks for that. And also now, so I harvested from that delegation is good. So which means that we have to learn to work together. See, like Top of Spaces, it wouldn't exist without Isaac. It wouldn't exist without me. He has his strengths, I have my strengths. Together, we're like a choir. First part, second part, although Isaac has the bass, you see what I mean? But it looks like we need that. So in your experience of developing yourself as an artist who has a goal and who has a mark. So by the way, when you become the richest man, we will live in the same quartier. We'll probably meet at the Katsu level. So anyway, so what is the reality in terms of teamwork in Africa, in the places you have gone to and people you have tried to work with, especially Cameroon? Then you can literate with Nigeria and the others. I wonder we capture realities from people that are actually out there so that we can know what others mean. Like when people like Tizi Panchak and other artists say lazy youth or dull youth, maybe they are trying to abstract away certain things, but what are your realities trying to deal with other people, trying to build teams? What are the things that you think are lacking and how can we make them better?
For me, nothing is lacking.
Okay.
What we try to do a lot of times is that we want to get everybody to be in the same process like we are.
Okay.
Life for me is a searching process,
Yeah.
So you get somebody into the team, it doesn't work out well. It doesn't mean that Africans cannot work in a team.
Okay.
You do that once, you do that twice, you do that 3 times, you find somebody who fits in the team perfectly. Now, that's to tell you that working in a team does not mean anybody can belong to the team. Sometimes some people just come to the team to play a role,
Okay.
but because we are humans, we don't like to say goodbye. So we want everybody who comes to stay.
Yeah.
But once you recognize the fact that not everybody belongs to the team for a long period of time, then you realize that people play their role, they finish playing their role, they leave. So for me, nothing is wrong. It's just finding the right people. I've met people, it's not worked. I've met people who have been with me from day one till today. So if I'm going to be very unfair to say that it's difficult to put up a team in Africa and all of those things. It's a human factor. It happens everywhere. It's just being patient, and give it up to time. You are going to build a perfect team. Don't expect everybody you meet to fit perfectly into the team. No, that's utopia. That's not reality.
Okay.
People will come and go. At the point you meet the perfect team.
Yeah, I see. Wow, thanks. Actually, you had mentioned about how you practice and when you in bureau call, how you practice at night and the rest. I have my own stories about that. Let me show you something, especially to Isaac. Isaac, you can see the screen. So this I used to practice on my bench in church. You remember this sound?
Yeah, very much. Oh, I remember Ebo.
Yeah, right. So I used to practice this on my bench, and then when I made the re-drum, I played it down on the drum. So when you spoke about how you were practicing, it just reminded me. And Isaac, that's me. I was just passing, man, and I saw drums in the shop, so I went there to play it. So, but anyway, yeah, it's the same thing. I was just reminded by Aboli's story of like how he was practicing. You go to the music room alone up to 2 a.m. and
Yeah,
stuff
I'll tell you a story, Brian. When Form 5,
Yeah.
it was Calicute Day. So it was the night before Calicute Day, and Bureau was hosting.
Yeah.
So I was going to play the xylophone on that day. Now, Mr. Bang Joseph, he
Bonjour.
had practice, I think, on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Mr. Bang Joseph had asked me, the opening song was I See Your Sona.
Yeah, I see your
So I had
zona,
to
him
play,
guys in a big
that's how it was played.
Yeah.
Mr. Bangjo asked me to play
Oh, like to rattle it. Yeah.
right? Now that was difficult because I had not imagined myself playing that.
Yeah.
Now he tried to force me to play that to the extent that he got very upset. When they rang the bell for prayers, he got very upset.
Yeah.
And left. Now when I went to the chapel, I couldn't pray. And immediately after prayers, I ran to the chapel and to the music room.
Yeah.
I locked myself while everybody went for supper. Now I stayed there and sat down for a while. I looked at the xylophone and then took it and tried to practice. Now I practiced it for a while and then I got it. That's when I realized that even in football,
Yeah.
I think that influenced my football because that's when I realized that it is not talent. It doesn't take talent to take the ball and run into two defenders and try to dribble them. Now, a lot of us have the talent, but it also needs courage to
Heart.
think that you can do
In
that.
pigeon, you need to get
Then
heart.
you can do. You understand? Now, you
Isaac.
just one need the courage
Yeah.
to think that I can go in between these two people. Then you get the inspiration. So I think that I said to myself that I can do this. Then I practiced it throughout supper. I didn't go for supper. Now we came for singing practice the night before the Kali Youth Day. And when it was time to play the opening song, then I did that rattling. That was in Form 5, I think second term also. And Mr. Bangjo said, everybody should stop. I should play that again. And I played it again. And he got so excited that he actually was jumping in the refectory. And I mean, the rest, the rest is, that has been my playing style throughout, Bishop Rogan, and until right now.
Shout out to Bangjo. Actually, Isaac Bangjo was a music teacher. He is a revolutionist in the sense that when I was in Form 1, I believe your audio is off. Or is it me? Was an issue?
No, I can get you.
Okay. So when I was in Form 1, his father Anuchem that was teaching us music, and it just used to be he would draw the treble clef and things like that, give you notations, definitions like music is a universal language of a soul. So we thought that's music. You just memorize that thing and you have your 20 on 20. So when Bangjo came, right, it was no more book. You have to practice. He first of all printed, everybody had a keyboard on paper. Right, Isaac, that you had a keyboard on paper that he would test your knowledge. So he came, he's somebody, and he has really transformed people's lives like that. He's a person that even taught me Excel, Microsoft Excel. He taught me, my friend taught me, but he taught me some tricks in Excel too. So he has transformed many people's lives like that. But when we were experiencing it, we saw it as maybe some kind of
God
burden.
bless him.
God bless him. Mr. Bangjo, we are out there. Thank you.
And God bless Bishop Rogan, yeah?
Mashallah.
I mean, Bishop Rogan, I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking that we're so lucky in our generation.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, I don't know what Bishop Rogan is today. I'm not sure what he still gives out to kids today. But in Nigeria, some of those schools, like the St. Joseph seminaries that we have around, St. John's College and all of that, they still don't give out the quality of, knowledge and education, that we are lucky to be given, So I'm just thinking about, what this present generation could be losing as to what we gain. So shout out to Bishop Rogan and thank you very much.
It's in Boya. Bishop Rogan is in Boya, Isaac.
He's in Boya.
Isaac Boya wants to move to Boya, man.
Yes, I want to
Boya.
go to Boya. Recently I was thinking about what we talked with, what's his name?
Churchill?
The guy that said he was going to write a pitch.
Yeah, Churchill.
To do a story on Boya.
Yeah, Churchill.
I thought that we have not arrived on that yet. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
Obase, talking about management, talking about working together as a team. Who would you like to work with in Nigeria?
In terms of management?
No, not management. In terms of making music.
Team.
So I love Yemi Alade very much.
You want to be her Johnny? What are you talking about?
The reason is because she's done a music with Salif.
Or you like fine girls.
He wants to be the Johnny man.
Or you like girls who get big nyash.
So apart of the fact that I like fine girls,
okay,
the music twist of it.
Okay.
All right.
I think that she and her management put up a project where she's done a song with Salif Keita, she's done a song with Mafiki Zulu, she's done a song with
Charlotte Dependent from Cameroon.
Acapella from South Africa. She's done a song with Angelique Joe. So I think that she went out to combine what she does with some legendary music. Those people who came who projected African music. So I followed up the project, you know. And then I think that I fell in love with her art, because she has a very beautiful song with Salif Keita. She just did a Wombo Lombo. She did a song with
Yeah.
Angelique Kidjo. And then a lot of those people, so she's one person that recently I just looked at alive. I mean, I would love to have a touch with any generation of the fellas, especially the fact that Femi is still alive. He's one legend I would like to work with. But with the young people, I mean, um,
Yeah,
she's my,
yeah, I can totally agree with you when you choose Yemi Alade, because Yemi Alade is very African. In fact, she came out with a brand, quite very different in her music. She shows very, very Africanness, the way
yeah,
they dance and all of that.
yeah,
And I could see some of those dances in some of your videos,
yeah,
where you see those little girls, they dance. In Bajuland, where I come from, Southern Kaduna, we call it samba,
Mashallah.
So you just see them, they are shaking their. I saw that, and
When you come to
Yemi
Cameroon, Isaac.
Alade has a lot of that in her
yeah.
arts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course,
Isaac,
that's
when you
why.
come to
I mean, I
Cameroon, we
love
show you
musicians
dance.
like Aisha.
Are you sure, Brian?
I don't
Yeah.
know if she's Nigerian based now, but for the musicians who are in
There is fire
Nigeria,
on the mountain.
yeah,
Yeah, I
don't
love
know.
Asa, man. I love Asa.
But
Yeah,
Asa
okay.
puts more sense in my
for the
head.
musicians who are actively in Nigeria who do Afrobeat, Yemi Alade stroke me, you
Okay.
know.
Wow, Masha. Have you heard of Area Father?
So my thinking,
How about
thinking
Area
is
Father,
that,
Isaac?
yeah,
Area Father.
Area Father is fine.
Because
Area
he's
Father
someone
is fine.
that is very dynamic and he likes to convey meaning in whatever he does. And what Aboli is actually doing is he's not just managing meaning, he's actually trying to adapt meaning and give meaning, if that makes sense. So I think him
Yes.
partnering with people that vibrate at such frequencies will really be amazing.
Yes. Yes. In fact, I'm just thinking in my head, I love art, right? And I can die for it. I can die for it, right?
Yes,
I'm
yes.
just looking at
We can kneel on the cross,
and I
right?
think this is what you have been doing. Permit me, because me too, when I see this kind of works, I begin to carry them and put them inside my head and begin to make them my property, right? And begin to look like, I mean, you come in with Yemi Alade, I totally accept. I totally see why you would want to do it. You take those her beats and convert them and play them on your xylophone. Is that a possibility?
Of
Like to
course,
do a
why
cover,
not?
like to do a cover.
Yeah. I can do you
Okay.
a cover. I can do a cover maybe by the end of the week. I can send you a cover.
Mashallah.
Oh, I would like that. I would totally like that. If you do a cover, then you still have to come here and defend it, because I'll
Yeah,
ask
you can come
questions.
here. We'll check it out. And anyway, sorry. Continue.
No, go ahead, man.
Shout out to Gregory Amos. He says great convo. And shout out. Sorry, Obase. I just wanted to pay attention to.
Yeah, Gregory
Yeah.
almost he's a musician par excellence.
Oh wow,
Very good
mashallah.
one.
Please
Man,
let us
from
know
Ghana.
if you want to come here. Let's chat. This platform, Isaac and I were like mad people. We don't really have things to do.
We're mad
We
people,
just
though.
come and discuss us with people and make
We're
noise.
mad people.
That's what we
Talk
do.
about everything. Talk about. Did you see our episodes with Area Father?
Oh, did you see it? I'll send it to
I'm
you.
asking Obase.
Huh?
Aboli. Did you see our
Did you
episode
get
with
to
Area
see
Father?
our episode with Area Father? I mean, Charlie Boy.
No, I didn't see that.
Okay. Maybe you should look for it. He's one musician that he comes from. He's 70-something years old, right, Brian?
Yes.
He's about 70.
It looks very young.
Yeah, but he looks very young and he's still very contemporary. He's still in touch with Whiskey, Davido, and all these guys.
And
So
he's the one doing the covers of all those music and
No, he has his own thing. I
Okay.
don't know if we can play. Isaac, you want us to search
he's,
for one of his
he's
things?
like when he came to the show and I called him a god, he said no, that he's not a god.
said,
But in the
I
real
beg, I
sense,
beg.
Charlie Boy is a god in music, in entertainment in Nigeria. He's the father of all of them. Even Idris Abdul Karim, they are all his boys,
Let me look
So
for one of his.
I'm just saying here, he's old, but he's still in touch with all these guys, and that's somebody that you would also want to talk with,
Yeah.
I mean,
I would share my
it's always
screen
going to
so
be a
you can
pleasure
see.
for normal men like me to eat with ancestors.
Let me share my screen so you see one of his. I think a live performance he did, so you get a taste. So when Isaac was just asking you who you want to like collaborate with in Nigeria, he came to mind because he does live too.
He's a madman too.
Yeah. I would forward the lady.
I like this.
You like it?
Yeah, it is. Let me forward.
That's it.
The way he's singing. Yeah, I think we can leave it like that. You understand?
So you know, Obase, he lived in the days with Fela. He's Fela's contemporary.
Yeah.
In fact, he told us here that he smokes more. That people don't know that he smokes more Igbo than Fela.
And that we should not tell anybody.
Yeah. and I've told Obase.
Yeah.
Yes, man. So Obase, your art, like your art is universal. Yeah, your art is universal. I think you can work with anybody. It's like, but I don't know. Brian tried to define it in a way, but I think from what I understand, your art is like an elevation of every art, every traditional art form.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You use, from what I saw here, you used your xylophone to elevate art forms, adopt them to the level of the xylophone. You've actually glorified the xylophone, and we thank Africa need to thank you for that. You know, for not abandoning it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that I want to do, it's going to entail a lot of hard work. But right now, I'm in contact with an agent in Sri Lanka, you know, and I want to work with a few musicians in Sri Lanka to do a collaboration. And I mean, and for me, I think that you see the ukulele. There's an
I had
issue
an
with the
ukulele.
ukulele.
I had an ukulele.
Yes.
Sorry,
So
continue.
it's an instrument that was later it's an instrument that went out. You know, nobody played it anymore, and just one musician used it in a hit song, and everybody started talking about it, and it went back into production.
That's interesting.
I think I'll buy it. I'll buy one again.
Brian,
yeah.
Brian, it's important that some of these instruments,
okay,
when
let's
we mention them, since they are so traditional and are not so very popular, if you can just pull a picture for us.
I will show you. Ukulele is a small guitar, man. I will show you.
Ukulele, just so our viewers know what we are talking about. So, Obase, enjoy. Right on, bro.
Yeah. So, I mean, that inspired me, and for me, one way to make that instrument, the xylophone, very popular, you know, is to take it alongside other traditional music, other music that is playing on the world stage, you know, then you get it popular. You know, if we just leave it at the level of our villages in Africa, you know, what happens is that the West comes and take it, modifies it, it becomes a Western xylophone, and we have nothing to talk about.
They will start complaining.
I decided to keep it as natural and traditional as it is, you know, but to collaborate with other world music, you know, from India, maybe Sri Lanka, maybe, you know, Europe, other places, you know. And
I remember. What was it, Snoop Dogg or was it Dr. Dre that was it R. Kelly that did Tonya 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 Tonya
R. Kelly.
Tonya Tonya Tonya. That was with the Indian, right? Was quite new, and we had these guys, the Wu-Tang Clan that came and they adopted the Chinese. They had the Chinese music instrument in their music, and that was how it shot. And Brian, I was trying to say this. This was what Tino was trying to say when we were talking about the music in Cameroon, right? And thank God that Obase is here.
Yes.
Don't mind Brian and Tino. They just sat down here and they were just criticizing our voice.
Isaac was a lawyer, man. I respected Isaac. I'll hire him next time.
Yeah, they just sat down that day and they were just saying that, you know, but this art form, and basically art form, naturally you have to be criticized. This is why we move. You know, so I want to ask you, man, what do you think about Cameroon music? The level it is right now.
Cameroon has a very, very very rich music culture. I can tell you that I had a meeting today with my management, and they told me that they asked me that how many songs. So I finished doing an album project, but I need to go to the studio every Friday. Now I need to spend time in the studio every Friday to produce new songs, not for an album, just to compose songs and keep. Now they asked me how many songs should they expect from me every month. Right? Now I told them that I don't have a problem with I can do songs, one song every week. Once I can work with my engineer and then we go through. Now, the reason why I can do that easily is because we have so much a rich musical culture in Cameroon that I can tap from anywhere. And if I want to think too far, I'll have difficulty. But just from where I grew up and the kind of music we played in church, we played music that was coming from at least 10 to 15 different cultures. So the different cultures bring different kind of music that Cameroon has such a rich musical culture. And when it comes to Africa musical powerhouse in the 60s, in the 70s, you call Cameroon because those who kept Africa at the map, aside Salif Keita and people like Fela, and later on, you see, were people like Manu Dibango, and then now people like
Richard
um,
Bona, now Richard Bona is
Richard Bona. There were a lot of
Henri de Conge.
Harry Conge. There are a lot of those kind of musicians, who put Cameroon in the map. You see, so personally, I think that we have a rich musical culture. What's happening now in Cameroon is that there's um there's an evolution of everything in Cameroon right now. Everything, Cameroonian politics, Cameroon business, entrepreneurship, the society, education, everything is evolving in Cameroon. And in less than no time, we're going to find a balance.
Thank you, my man.
In less than no time, we're going to find a balance. And the music culture in Cameroon as well is evolving. So there's a lot of influence from other kinds of music in Cameroon right now. After a while, we're going to find a balance, like every culture. So I think that what is happening in Cameroon right now, musically, I love it because it's necessary for what is going to happen tomorrow.
Mashallah, this is my very good politician.
Yes,
Answered the question very well. But anyway, sorry, continue.
And for me, I think that
but I think it's realistic.
I think that it's going to be very. It's not going to be right to say that a musician in Cameroon may be doing Afro rock or rap music or doing whatever it is, to say that they are not creative enough. Everybody who involves in art has a certain high level of creativity. Now we just take our creativity to different directions. So I respect each and every one musician in Cameroon who is feeding the art industry in Cameroon right now. And for me, it's a plus. So sometimes we get too stuck with what had happened before, and we want to compare the now with the before, right? And forgetting that there needs to be a future, and for the future to be, things cannot remain the same. There has to be an evolution. So
man, can I run my mouth a little?
Run.
What gear?
You have all the time.
Put Sports Plus. Anyway, we have been speaking for 2 hours, so I guess we should be running out. But about music, in Cameroon, yes, we're lucky. We have many tribes. We have a wide variety of songs and culture that we can tap from. Right? Aboli and I were having a chat. Remember when you and I were chatting that we're discussing on the idea that the music you do is very good. It is very traditional, and we can use it to revive our history in the sense that you can be playing that xylophone and telling the story of Cameroon, like reunification. That's the kind of vibe that the music brings. Then that is value.
So sorry to cut you short, Brian.
No, please go on.
When we had that discussion, I was working on a 9-song album. When we had that discussion, I added a 10th song.
Mashallah.
That's going to be like 15 minutes. That is just going to be the xylophone and a brief history
Well,
of
this
one
guy,
aspect of
man.
Cameroon right now.
This
Mashallah.
guy, man. This guy, you are the man, man.
So
This guy, man. You two, you are mad, eh?
yeah, it's a
That's good.
madman.
It's good to have you here.
You know,
You
it
always
reminds me of
always feel free to come here.
I-
Always feel free to come here. I mean, you are the
yeah.
guy, yeah? You are the man. You are
Isaac,
the
when
man.
you say madman, you know what I remember?
Uh,
Those that when I used to read the Bible, the story of Saul. Remember when he would go mad, and then he used to go mad beside prophets. So people used to joke that he's with the prophets too, because prophets, like when the Holy Spirit gives them, they became mad and then they start talking. So Saul, anyway, just a branch. But the point that I wanted to make is that talking about value, right, Isaac? What I was saying, what Tina and I were saying, is an extension of what we face in our own fields, and we're saying that in the music field. Like, I'm an instrumentalist, man. I play like 3 instruments. Most times I sit quiet. So when I talk about music, it's not that I'm just running my mouth. You see, when I'll have time, you see, maybe I'll make my own sounds. But that's if there's time. So when I
make a soundtrack for Topo Spaces.
maybe if there's time. So but when I say those things about music, it's out of respect for those people. I'll give you an example. There was this artist that once said, like Cameroonian, they stood on TV and said that what we need now in Cameroon is to find our own sound. I saw that to not really make sense, because it's like how a chef in Cameroon should be saying that we're looking for another dish. What happened to Eru? What happened to Achu? What happened to all the traditional dishes that you have tribes that have an average of 3 different traditional dishes? What are you still looking for? So as an engineer, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. When I have a problem, or if I have to do something, I try to compose it from what I have. If what I have does not suffice, or I don't have anything to use for composition, then I get into the lab to start looking for. So it's from that background that you see me saying all of those things, right? Yeah. And you, Isaac, I've seen a similar sentiment when you are trying to pave the path for journalism, like saying that journalists should have this training and that training. Is a similar kind of a thing. Yeah. Out of respect and service that you do that.
Out of respect and love for the profession, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah.
You always want it to get better.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's
you
my
just
own
got
speech.
me there.
I finished my
It's true.
speech.
Like during you just got me there.
I finished
like
my
during
speech
the
now.
Lekki, the NSAS, shooting in Lekki.
Yeah.
I was almost grumbling every day, like, man, what are the journalists doing there? Why are they just allowing the government and the army to tell us the story? These journalists go there and tell us our own story, what the people should depend on.
Yeah.
And luckily we had CNN came around and they gave us something very good. Premium times to have captured the very. So now I really understand what you mean.
That they were almost boxing up.
Profession.
Aboli, imagine that they were almost boxing, almost wanted to go to the ring. Tino and I against Isaac.
But you see, I was talking with a friend from the US who is Balwe, from my tribe.
Yeah.
You understand? We have different, like Orocos, we have different genre of music.
Yeah.
Now, and he was talking about, so how can we make this, put this on the world stage?
Yeah.
You understand? Because we have very great musicians from my clan.
Yeah.
Very great musicians. Now, the difference is that when you listen to the kind of music, what is the combination of what they do and what's their audience? When I make music and I'm doing Amekoko is an Morocco music. When I'm doing Amekoko music, right, I'm not thinking about going to play for a group of Morocco people in Cameroon or in Belgium. I'm thinking of putting Amekoko on a world stage, just like jazz or Cuban music is, or music from anywhere in the world. Now, what is it that makes this music to be inserted into a genre, maybe for any awards on the world stage? Now, the instrumentations alone. So you don't expect to do music in Cameroon and do digital programming of the music, right? I'm put it on the same stage, like somebody who invests a lot of money, to do live music and put it on the world stage. You cannot compete. So I set out to say that, okay, if I want to make the genre of music from my tribe as popular as Makossa from Cameroon, as Salsa from Cuba
Yeah.
or from Brazil,
Yeah.
then I have to put in the ingredients that all of this genre of music are putting in. So we invest a lot to do one song because I played the least instrument in the song. It has to be played live, and you pay somebody to come and pay to play it, live. So that's one aspect. If we decide that we want to invest into the art and then look at the globe as our target audience, then those people who are coming from where we are coming from will obviously listen, and then we just invest our time, and
Very true.
instead of
Very
doing
true.
a lot of songs, we do a few songs that has very good quality.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I
Well,
can
you
I,
know
say.
I
this
will
thing.
play one now.
You know this
I will,
thing. You
I
know
will
this
play
thing.
one
As you're
now.
speaking, you're just as you're the way this guy is explaining this thing. He's just reminding me of my university days. Where honestly, when those lecturers used to break this thing down, you so understand this thing.
Isaac, you
Obase.
don't know this man,
I
no?
mean, you should also think about setting up an institute or a
Isaac.
training school where you
Yeah.
just continuously shared some of this your thoughts. It's very
Yeah.
important
I
that we
remember.
Africans begin to look in that manner to train people. To mentor people.
Yeah.
Just to say
Mashallah.
that and leave there that. Yeah,
Isaac,
I
just
know
to
you're
also
already thinking
play,
about.
yeah, before we go, just to play some of the sound that he's talking about, one from that same clan. So come on.
I mean, this is a legend from my clan. It's a legend, you know. So Isaac, what I'm asking myself is, how can I take this music
Yeah,
from
man.
from this group of people
Yeah, man.
to make the world listen to it, appreciate it, you know.
Wow.
So it's a matter of
Mashallah.
ingredients. You
Yes.
know, you look beyond this group and then put just the ingredients that everybody puts in that is needed to put it on the world stage. That's what we're looking at. That's what we at Aboli Music are investing into.
Mashallah.
Yes. And I totally agree that, and I just don't want to live with Aboli music. I mean, most of you guys that are watching us from Nigeria, we have a lot of similar music all around
Yes.
Nigeria, all around the 250 ethnic groups. You can always go back to your village, to where you come from, listen to music there, and use it as one of the raw materials, into your music, and that will make you unique. I'm sure that was what
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
Brian
you should.
and Brian were
Isaac,
trying to project that day.
Sorry to cut you short. I mean, it's not fair that when you go to the US, for example, there's hip hop, there's R&B, there's jazz, there's blues, there's country music, there's all of those. Now, when they are giving awards, right, what they give an award to African music. Now, that doesn't do justice to the continent because you can imagine the number of genre of music that are in this continent. Now, at the same time, we also cannot blame whoever decides to name it African music because if we invest into each genre of music coming from, I mean, Afrobeat is a worldwide sensation. How many years ago was the investment done by Fela Kuti? So many years ago. You understand? So I can invest into it today. In 50, 40 years' time, it becomes a world sensation and people will celebrate it. I mean, there are awards in Europe and America now that put in Afrobeat as a genre, a part of world music and African music. You see?
Yeah, and
me,
it follows naturally that, man, like if you go outside and you invite people, will it be customary for you to buy a hamburger, or will it be customary for you to cook your traditional dish? Or let's say, think of it, think of the word embassy in the original meaning. It's like a convoy that goes to represent you, right? Or somebody. So now we are kind of embassies in our own right. Your art and the rest, wherever you go. So if you now go to any embassy, they show you the culture of the people. You see. So if I'm inviting my friends over to come, I will cook my food so they have a taste of my culture. So we need to do that too in the music sphere. You see what I mean? And in other art. so that people can see what we have, and that's how. And it's similarly when we have people that also argue about Christianity and Islam. I always say the same thing, that we do not export our religions. Perhaps we would have exported our religions, and you will come here, you will see one American who has put calabar chalk on his eye, he has a red pieces, and then he's playing you. But we did not export
Very
that,
true.
so it's similar.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, mashallah.
Nice, man. Obase,
Yeah.
you're so resourceful.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you're so resourceful. I'd like to just take you away from music now and take you to politics with the Anglophone, Brian and Tino. Their patriotic niche or their nationalistic niche has pulled them together. They're doing something on Anglophone Youth Conference, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about, the next shift in terms of politics in Cameroon? What should be the next shift that will benefit us, this our generation, and how do we go about that?
The first thing is that when the Anglophone crisis started, a few years back, I tried to contact a few people who were involved, from the Anglophone end, to understand. I think at that time it wasn't easy to get information from them because people were driven by a lot of emotions. Now I did a song, um, for the crisis, Woyaya. Right now I'm reworking on the song on the second album, to cover all of Africa, because what we're facing as a country 4 years ago, it's now being faced by the whole of the whole continent. And Frank Sadat, he was on the show yesterday, some time ago, and said, Sadat, do you know that the president of Cameroon, Paul Biya, said that Cameroon will be an emerging nation in 2035?
Yeah.
Now, if we do a quick math, naturally, when a country goes through a revolution, right, sometimes what follows is peacemaking and then nation building. Now, so if we're in 2020, Cameroon goes through a revolution for a while, and then let's say after a while, then we say, okay, we want to put this to an end. We make peace and then decide to build a nation. Then Cameroon is going to look like Rwanda, maybe in 2035. Then we might say that Paul Biya was a prophet. But that was by the way.
Are you trying to make
that was by the way, though. What?
Aboli, why are you applying makeup on Paul Biya? Are you trying to make him look good? Anyway, sorry, continue.
Okay, so but what I'm saying is that the Anglophone crisis, the reason why NSAS can come today and it becomes the whole world talks about it is because the whole country is talking about it in a particular direction. Now, the Anglophone crisis is buried, because the country, we as a country are saying it in very different, directions. There's the government who is protecting the government, no matter who is dying. So they're telling their own story. And there's a group of activists who started off, who are fighting for the people, who say they're fighting for the people, who are telling their own story. Now, there's the people in the middle, right, who are in between these two, right, who also have their own story. And now these are the scapegoats. These are the people who sometimes find themselves between the devil and the deep blue sea, because they will use them to drive their agenda from any end sometimes, So it becomes so confusing that at the end of the day, what we have to do is put in your voice to where you're convinced you want to put in your voice to, and leave the rest to hope, and because at the end of the tunnel, there must be a light. I mean, Cameroon has been peaceful for a very long time, but under a particular government, so you cannot repress a people for a very long time. We love a country. We love a country because we grew up in a country.
Yeah,
You
I love
know,
Cameroon, man.
yeah,
So much.
I personally love Cameroon as a country because I grew up in that country, and I think that a lot of things can be done to make the country better. You understand? And so for me, that's how I look about it. I look at it because sometimes it's so disturbing. You don't know what to say. I stopped talking about it for a while because I don't know what to say. You know, my mom is a police officer. At the point, she was a target. You understand?
My dad was kidnapped.
She had to look for a transfer from Kumba to somewhere else
Yeah,
just so that she can be sheltered. But she was targeted. Who targeted? She was targeted by the activists.
yeah.
Now she has nothing. She works for the government so that she can feed her kids. Now, when you target her and kill her, what happens to the kids? You understand? So those who get affected, the families, even the Anglophone families who get affected by one action or the other from the activists, have a different story to tell. The
Yeah.
families who get affected by one action or the other from the government have another story to tell. So it's so messed up.
Everything
But
jaga
in all
jaga.
the mess, you see, there's going to be a light. There must be a light someday. I mean, it's what I think about it.
Isaac, so everything jaga jaga. Isaac, yeah, audio, yeah, audio. Yeah, Aboli, thanks for that. And actually, me too have gone through like similar evolution, and that's why I think it's time to act. Like by acting, I don't mean like talking. That's why we're building the Anglophone Youth Conference because we want to empower ourselves and want to use data. Like you mentioned, music being the new oil. Music also is information, so it's all seated on data. So now, when you also mentioned exporting music, I felt guilty, and this is a thing where Isaac, I used to say that the way I speak to someone, I can scrutinize you. That's the same way I scrutinize myself. So when Aboli spoke of exporting music. Now I thought of how to export. I am a technologist, so he has done his part. I think I'm the one who has failed. If there's no platform that people can consume that, you see what I mean? So when I think in that capacity, I would like to put a platform where, because if we build our own streaming platform, for example, we can put all the genres that we want exactly as they are, and the rest of the world can come there and consume it. Similarly, with these issues like Anglophone crisis, I also feel as a technologist that I should erect a platform where people can capture opinions like judiciously, and then we can use it to bring progress. So sometimes it sucks when if I scrutinize myself like that, then I want to do that for another person's field out of respect and service, then it becomes war. So long story short, this is a long speech. I'm just trying to say that we have to work.
Yeah, sure.
Isaac, yeah, audio.
The day, everything is working out for good,
Yeah.
right? I mean, when Obasi said it's all messed up, I would like to use another word. It's all a pori. Is it a pori of challenges, right? And we have identified them. We can see them. We can speak to these issues,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So as we are converging our energies, whether from music, Obasi makes a music about the Anglophone. Brian sets up, a platform where we can collect all these data. It is all work in progress. And I totally agree with you, Obasi. Just like I tell people in Nigeria, Africa, not just these countries, Africa is on revolution.
Yeah, the whole of Africa.
Yes, the whole of Africa is on a revolution. I see the light is not even too far from me, from what I can see. And I know that we are going to get there. As much as we continue to converge energies together, like what we're doing here,
Yeah.
I believe that we will get there as soon as possible. Yeah.
Inshallah. So man, I hate to be the one to say that let's round up because
Yeah, yeah.
I'm the one that
Yeah, I
bullshit.
need to.
So
Yeah.
Aboli, immense thanks for blessing us with your audience and presence. It's really inspiring and it's made me think a lot. This is a database. This is stored here. We can all share, chime in later, connect later, and absorb it. So before we split, do you have anything to say to those that are listening? Yeah,
Something that we didn't ask you.
yeah. Anything? You have anything to say before we close the party before item 11? I have my
Brian, I have a song for you.
a song.
Yes.
Yeah, really? You want to play it or what? Tell me, please.
I'll try. I don't know if you can get the guitar well.
Okay.
This guy.
Mashallah.
You want us to add 1 more hour, huh? All right, let's
Ah,
go.
Let's go.
I don't know if you can get the guitar well.
I can.
Okay.
Brian, more volume.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
up the volume.
Imani sodi ateka mikolo
Mashallah.
naye mikolo njom Imani sodi ateka mikolo naye mikolo njom Pada Jeviso njom
Mashallah.
Papa Zizue njom Bam Joseph Jom.
Isaac, let me sing.
Mr. Mbangweso. Jom. Isaac Abrak. Thomas Pacey so. Jom. Brian. Jom. Zembeo. Jom.
Mashallah.
How do you feel listening to that song?
Oh boy, man, so solid, man. You're the guy, man. You're the guy.
You wanna know how I feel?
I didn't understand what you were saying, but as they say, music is a universal language.
I didn't understand myself.
You know how I feel? You know how I feel? You know how I feel? I feel like going to look for the nearest lion and beating it up. I feel empowered.
Yeah, man.
I'm like looking for a lion, that cabinet box.
So I think Brian can give you the history of that song.
All right.
Yeah. So anyway, I got to bounce. I have a meeting in a few minutes. So Aboli, please consider this. Yeah, please consider this the first out of a countless number of episodes that we can have. Whenever you have something to say, please let us know. And and we can always organize it just like this one. We had planned for this a long time ago, but certain issues, so we couldn't realize it. But I'm really grateful for today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
May Allah in His 99 names who creates the world by speaking bless you immensely and bless all of us that participated today.
Yeah, man. Hope to see you in Nigeria soon.
Hope
to see you for a concert soon.
I'll come with the nearest call, sure.
Yeah. All right, man.
Thank you so much, brothers.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Cheers, man.
Those listening, shout out to all of you. Thank you guys for participating. Yeah. Bye.